This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Back here on the program with the Coach Ed Young. I am Matt Hatfield, and we're pleased to be joined by another special guest. He is the head football coach of the Granby Comets. Yeah, he was there this past season and then departed, and now he's back in the saddle again. You know him for many years at Norcom High School, where he helped the Greyhounds to a lot of playoff success and deep postseason runs. We say hello to Coach Larry Archie. Good morning, Coach. Thank you for coming on the show. We apologize for being a little bit late, a little bit tardy. We went a little long with Billy Joe Dupree, the former Cowboys Super Bowl champion. Great. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. And tell us about this situation, because you were at Granby a year ago, inherited a very challenging situation. They had lost 17 straight. You helped them snap that streak when you beat Kempsville a year ago. And I know you played a lot of youngsters. Looked like you were going to walk away. You did, but you're back.
Yeah. Well, the situation was that I was still working in Portsmouth and having to leave school at a middle school, at Churchland Middle. We got out of school later, and so I had to have arrangements made with the staff to do study hall, get the laundry, get the kids dressed. And so as I was pulling up to the practice field, the guys were walking out. And I'd never been in that situation before. And I just felt like it wasn't fair to the kids and the program. If you want to do it the right way, that I at least needed to be on this side of the water, on the Norfolk side. And so I felt like in January was the best time for me maybe to just step aside, and maybe they could find someone that could possibly be in the building or at least in the system. So I resigned in January. Then I got a call, I guess maybe June. I can't remember exactly, Matt, but, asking me to reapply. There's some things that changed, and there was a possibility of getting me a job in the system, which I wouldn't consider coaching again, and I'm not in the same city. And so I did, and that worked out. And so I started in Norfolk in October. I had to fulfill some contractual obligations in Portsmouth, which I thought was very graceful to let me out of my contract to come to Norfolk.
Hey, Larry, Ed Young here. I'm glad you're back on the sideline and staying. As I said earlier in the show to Matt, it was good to hear that, because I think you still have a whole lot to offer these kids. And, of course, Granby is a situation that's been struggling, and you're putting that ray of hope in there now. And I'm glad for you two hearing this story, because as a veteran coach myself, I've always said, if I'm not in the building of the school I'm coaching, I can't be there, because it's so important in terms of talking to people, the kids, the teachers, all of that stuff. So you've actually lived it, where it affected you to the point where you said, hey, I can't do the effective job, and that's why I was going to step away.
Right. Well, I think part of coaching, successful coaching, is about building relationships. And, when I got there, the teachers were leaving or gone. I didn't get to meet a lot of the teachers and administrators, and you're part of a family, but you're an absent cousin kind of thing. So, I don't know, I had never been in that situation. It was awkward from the start, and I knew I just didn't want to continue like that, because you only build relationships with the kids as players. You don't see them in the classroom. You get to walk around and see what they're doing in the classroom, how to interact with their peers in the building, and then become athletes. So that was just a lot for me, and I felt like it was best to walk away. In a better situation now, at least I'm in the city, and we can kind of finish some of the things that we put into place last year with younger guys who we kind of started to turn the corner with their way of thinking about, the process of winning.
Coach, looking at the situation we are now in with COVID-19 and this pandemic, and basically having really no high school structured sports activities as far as teams go together, games, if you will, going back to March when the state basketball tournament was pretty much canceled during the state championship games and co-champs were announced. Now the plan is to play in February. Give me your thoughts as a veteran coach, much like Ed, who's been at this a long time, how you handle this where you're not getting the face-to-face interaction that you've come accustomed to over the years.
Right. It's definitely a challenge. But I think, I'd be a hypocrite if I said we're going to do anything other than what's best for the safety of the kids. Mm-hmm. So the adjustment is that this process or the procedures that are put in place have made us slow down. And when you slow down, you realize how important the little things are. So you can teach a stance to guys 6 feet apart. So, football is a game of adjustment. So we put it to our kids that this is an adjustment. Just like the football field is 100 yards long. No one complains about that. Well, the rules change. That means you wear your mask on your own campus. Other than when you're performing, you wear your mask. You're 6 feet apart. You're wearing the coaches out, wiping down balls and dummies and things like that. But if it's going to keep the kids safe, then that's what we're going to do. But it has made us realize that we need to coach the little things first, which helps us with the social distancing and the wiping down of the balls and the bags and things like that. It's an adjustment. But again, like I said, football is that. It's a game of adjustment, and we have to adjust it if we want to continue.
He was the old coach of the Granby Comets, and now he's the new coach of the Granby Comets. Larry Archie, our pal and guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1. He helped the Norcom Greyhounds reach the pinnacle of the Eastern District, trying to do the same at Granby there in Norfolk, Ed.
Yeah, I was going to say Larry Archie replaced Larry Archie. That's
you got the first, huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure that's ever been done anywhere before. Larry, as you going into your second season, and of course Matt referenced all this crazy stuff as coaches, we have to worry about this COVID and the restrictions on us right now. We're experiencing that with basketball workouts. We can't really do anything, and it's just a guy that's been around for so long. I'm so frustrated, but you have to make the best of any situation, which is kind of the heart of coaching. What things are you looking to try to do in this upcoming season?
Well, we have a lot of young guys, and so starting with the basic fundamentals is important now. But as we progress, eventually we're going to have to start playing and doing football-related activities. So we kind of have to wait until we're given kind of the go-ahead where kids can almost touch each other, because football is a contact sport. I don't know. Up until that point, we can, we'll bring a board out on the field. We, do all we can to teach them the little things about the game. And like you said, it's a liquid adjustment. Everything changes. It could change tomorrow. So we have to be ready to make those adjustments. And hopefully at some point we'll get to the point where we can actually play football. The safety issue, I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know.
Last one I've got for you, Coach, and you've been a college coach before, as has Ed in basketball, you in football. I'm curious your take, and Ed, you can follow up, I'm sure, with it's a tough feeling right now for the class of 2021, these seniors. We know a lot of them are playing out in that 7-on-7 club league game academy at the Sportsplex, and others are just doing nothing right now, and some are going off their tape they have now. But, we're watching it with basketball. They're saying get an extra year. Football, some schools that are in the middle of their season are not really looking at the class of 2021. What's your advice and guidance, Coach Archie, on how they tackle the recruiting process and going into this age where it's very uncertain and a lot of unknowns?
I think one of the things that's important is that if the NC2A will give students another year of eligibility, it's going to really, really impede the college coaches with who they can bring in. Mm-hmm. I would hope coming down the pipe is that they will allow them to have more scholarships, because it's going to really impede those kids coming out now, because there may be a school out there with looking to bring 15 guys in, and then they realize 12 of the guys that played this year that would be seniors are coming back, which now they have 3. So if the NCAA would increase the number of scholarships that a program can have, that may help. And I think some of these kids might end up in maybe a junior college. Hopefully it works out that they may have to walk on and earn the scholarship the next year if there's no increase from the NCAA. In my experience, if you're a player that's a scholarship player, you will recognize probably from your 10th grade year and your junior year.
Sure.
There's not a whole lot, I think, that receive scholarship offers just off of their senior play, because the bigger the division, those people the big boys are dealing with 10th graders now. Everything is pushed back because they have juniors that leave and go to the NFL. So every year it seems like they're looking at a younger class than they were the year before. And so I think the scholarship level athlete has been identified. It's going to definitely affect some kids as far as the offers, but you can't take but one. Sometimes kids and families get caught up in how many offers you have. You can only accept one, and you have 5 official visits.
I think, Larry, too, in this situation, you said it the right way. If a kid with Division I talent, I'm pretty sure it might be the same with football as basketball. He's probably been picked out early. They watched him.
Yes.
Where it's going to hurt, I think, is all those kids that are Division 2, 3 types, especially in football because of the numbers.
Right. The numbers is going to be a problem. And like I said, hopefully, and a lot of Division 2 schools are fully funded with scholarships. I believe it's 48 schools for Division 2. If they have a lot of students that return for another year because this year doesn't count for them, that's going to push back the scholarship for a kid that may be coming out right now. Like I said, unfortunately, it may be a situation where the kid can pay and walk on the first year and earn his scholarship the next. Ideally, if the NCAA would increase the scholarship amount to cover this class, it would be okay.
Well, I haven't seen it officially announced yet, but the schedule makers, Little Birdie, I was told, they've got you playing, I think, to open up the season against reigning state champ Lake Taylor. So they weren't too kind to you, Coach.
Well, Lake Taylor hasn't been too kind to a whole lot of people.
No, they haven't.
And I just, if you want a measuring stick, there you go. Get it the first week. And that's fine. I know Hank very well. I started off in high school at Lake Taylor. And so, my thing is we have young guys, and the only way I believe kids get better is from playing the game. And that'll give us a good measuring stick early on.
Well, we look forward to the Comets and everyone else around the Hampton Roads area getting it going with high school football. Hopefully it can be done safe and well. For Coach Archie, his Comets, and everyone around the area, we thank you so much for coming on the program today. Wish you all the best. You stay safe, and we'll keep in touch, all right?
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
That is Larry Archie, the head
back.
football coach of the Granby Comets out in Norfolk, with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We will take a final timeout and come back with the Week 7 selections in a league where they play for pay. It's coming your way to finish up this edition of the program on ESPN Radio 94.1.